It is called Building Impactful Leadership with Real-World Experiences and Community Engagement. We will explore the multifaceted journey of cultivating leaders who are not only resilient and effective, but also deeply connected with their communities. Our conversation today will transverse through the essentiality of navigating real-world challenges, bridging the theory and practical divides in leadership development, and the pivotal role of community connection in sparking transformative change. We will delve into the heart, also will cover inclusive leadership by examining how engaging with diverse community perspective enriches leadership paradigms. Through a series of impactful stories from the panel members, case studies, and immersive experiences, we aim to uncover the sense of empathy in leadership. That's something we're gonna brush on. We see a lot of leaders now, but not a lot of empathetic leaders. We're gonna talk about this as well. And through the empathy and fostering the next generation of impactful leaders. Please join us as we embark on this enlightening journey to discover the pillars of building impactful leadership through real-world experiences and community engagement. With that, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Dina Al-Souri. I'm the academic advisor to the Dean and Associate Professor at Rabdan Academy. I've been in higher ed for almost 15 years now in the UAE. I did do my education back in the United States before I joined the UAE. And I'd like for the members to introduce themselves. I'll start with Dr. Krishna.
Hello, I'm Krishna Kumar, and I have working in this DISC, that's Dubai International Academic City, for almost 2 decades now. And I started with, I was a founding member of Manipal University, Dubai, and then I moved on to Heriot-Watt University, and now I'm working with a group called Study World, which we are the academic infrastructure partner for De Montfort University. Technically, we are running the De Montfort University's branch campus here. Yeah, I've worked in operations, I've worked in sales, and I think it's quite a long time now, and been there for 20 years. Without any Google map, I can reach to the university from anywhere in Dubai. So that's the years I've spent here. I'm happy to hear from my panelists also.
Thank you very much. Dr. Dina?
Good afternoon. Myself, Dr. Dina Das. I think I'm having a completely different background from other leaders. I actually represent an institution which is developed by, or maybe established by an NGO, which was mostly into the community development, which was focusing on the development of the society for last 48 years. And that is my background. And I got into this because my parents were the founders of that NGO. And we have been working in various fields of education, health, women development, environment programs, and so. And of course, I think I'm very glad and proud to be part of this panel. And I share this to understand more stories from you, and of course, to share my stories as well. I'm really thankful for being selected here. Thank you so much.
Dina. Dr. Manish?
Yeah. Very good afternoon. I am Dr. Manish Gupta, and I am discharging my responsibility as a Dean of Academics at Invertis University, Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh, India. And I think I'm in that journey, and I really consider myself a student in this journey, because personally I believe that life is a learning process, and learning is a lifelong process as such. So that journey continues, and I like to congratulate the organizers for this wonderful, wonderful event, and it has really been very, very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Porcho?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to thank Elets World Education Summit for this great organization. It's my second time attending. It's wonderful to be here. So my name is Burcu Aydın. I am the Director of Student Affairs Department at Gulf Medical University in Ajman. So resilient leaders, how are we leaders? Are we saying that to after? Okay, so that was my introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Professor
Kota.
Yes, Kota.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to all of you and the panel members and the co-host here. I have completed my journey of 42 years in academic field. Started as a assistant professor, went back up to director quality assurance, to a vice chancellor of a university, and back to professorship now, which is what I enjoy the most because of all the phases that I have seen through. The most impactful and the most critical element in the whole journey that I face is being a professor, being a teacher, is where you can really develop that quality of a leadership or citizens who can be leaders in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, welcome on board. And I'm going to start with what I kind of just mentioned earlier, the challenges, the reality that people don't see, how leadership roles are a responsibility, it's a challenge, and not just a title. In fact, a lot of the time, it's a curse. I see it personally. And we're speaking generally, not just in leadership and education. Can I ask each one of you, and maybe we'll start with Dr. Krishna, can you share a specific real world challenge you faced as a leader and how it contributed to your resilience?
So I'll start with two incidents, two real-time incidents. One was when we when I moved from Manipal University to Heriot-Watt University. Heriot-Watt University was doing so well and had nothing to do. In the sense, it was already flying high, and you just need to correct some wingspan, something like that, so that you're doing so well. Once we had De Montfort University in Dubai, it was never the change. I really had to unlearn and relearn what has to be done for this brand, because we all have the same intent. Both are UK based universities, and it's going to be an easy sell. But technically, it was not the case. To get the confidence and to really talk about the 152 years of rich heritage of the university to the Dubai crowd was never easy at all. And yes, I can definitely say that we have done the job, because as I can see, we are the most rapid growing university in this field, in this sector, and we have crossed almost 1,250 students in this two cycles. So that clearly says that we are doing something right. The second one was when you talk about leadership, it is more of teamwork. I certainly believe in leadership is a combination of hardcore teamwork. So when you talk about teamwork, there are a lot of verticals in it, or a lot of people who are in it, and I include the students also for that matter. So initially, when we built a fresh project for Manipal University, that's when we wanted to create a community of students who will be the next gen leaders and would understand what exactly we're looking at and what can we do something different. So at that time, I was quite keen. I was heading the operations, and that was easy for me to implement certain changes, wherein we brought a sustainability club, which was from the scratch. I built it up along with the team and the students club, and they understood why it was being done. And I'm so proud to say that we won the best green audit campus in 1 year's time, and we won the Diva Green Campus initiative. And in that, we saved around 483,000 tons of CO2 emissions. And it never came easy, because we had so many parties to be involved. And I was just trying to connect those dots, and it went on so well that the students who were there as presidents and vice president at that time, they were doing so well in the same respective field in sustainability and the same related fields. So that clearly gives you a sense that you have done something right to the community, as well as yeah, I would definitely see this too as a big change in my life. And this and unlearning and relearning is never easy, because you think that you know everything, but technically you need to really change the basics, which was never easy. And but now that I've come across and I've been successful along with my team and the both senior and junior, so I can feel that I'm doing my part well. And I always encourage students leadership, and not giving them any sort of advice which will tell them what to do. It is always throwing the challenges to them and trying to help them with some solutions. And that has worked a lot, and we are doing so well, and I'm quite happy for the community also.
Very good. And I think, the two highlights here from what you said, Dr. Krishna, is sometimes we do a model in a certain country or setup and it works, doesn't necessarily work in another country or another population. Because we're thinking about opening a campus overseas, and we're like, oh, we've done it before, but it's a very different population, a whole new challenge. So that's important, and I think teamwork, as you said, as a leader, you have to forget about yourself and think about others. And I think you need to be mature enough. I see a lot of young leaders put themselves first still, which means they're not ready. You still did not get enough satisfaction to become a leader and to put people first. So this is also very important. Thank you. Dr. Dina, challenges.
Well, I think my challenges are much more than what you have heard. Actually, starting up an institution from the scratch is always a difficult task, honestly. And when we don't have a backup of any corporate or any other institutions, so actually the challenges we face is really beyond words. Right from selecting the correct human resource to raising the financials and building a brand as an institution, everything is a lot of challenge. And I think I was fortunate enough to experience that, and I was able to develop such an institution of course, with the support of our team. And now we were able to raise our levels to be one of the pioneer pharmacy colleges in Kerala. And I'm really glad, even though I didn't go to the details of my challenges, I have to tell you that now we are able to work with premier institutions like ISRO, I mean Indian Space Research Organizations, and Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden, which are all research institutions. We are having tie-up with them. So the challenges which we faced over the last 20 years, were much more. And the initial challenge which I really faced was to raise funds. And what I realize is that, in papers and in maybe when we talk with banks, everybody will say we are willing to help. But when we come to a realistic situation, it is really a big obstacle to overcome. Mainly because, what I really understand is banks are with people who have money. They won't support who doesn't have money. Only if they are confident enough that we are able to repay, or we are able to keep up the expectations of the bank, then only they will be able to support us. So that was the initial crisis which we really faced. And of course, I remember the words which a bank manager had told me. Dina, you have to wait. You prove that you are strong enough to repay if the bank supports. So then I thought, if I have enough backup, then why should I be going behind a bank? So that was the biggest challenge which I was really faced. But what everybody's told, like, we have to be really patient enough to overcome those. And I had to really prove. And of course, when there is financial crisis, there will be a lot of other challenges coming together with that, mainly with the human resources, when we are not able to pay them on time. And so that is what I was telling. The experience which I might have faced is completely different from what other leaders might be able to share. But this is a real example of how a new person, if somebody is coming to entrepreneurship, or maybe coming to set up institutions like this, they may have to face a lot of challenges like this. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. You see, in our academic position, particularly the leadership position across the world, I would say the one challenge that we are all facing is to how to add value to our students. There is always a performance and expectation gap. So it's pretty important that what are the ways and means that we are applying so that we can add value, and we can improve and maintain those academic standards. It's a pretty important challenge, and it is very difficult to overcome because there are a lot of things that you are supposed to do in that regard. You need to keep on seeing that your curriculum is relevant. The pedagogies that you are adopting, they are really acceptable to the industrial world. How you are inculcating the entrepreneurial spirits in your students. So that way, this is one of the major challenges that we are able to find.
I'd like to say that real experiences involve failures and successes, and a leader will turn the failure, I think, to a learning opportunity. and bounce back from setbacks and make it an experience, a learning experience where they keep the positive attitude. As a leader in my university, as a resilient leader, I hope, my goal is from student affairs perspective to make sure that our students are given when they first join us through admissions, what we promise: good education, good job opportunity, to be able to help them with their emotional intelligence, not only academically, socially, emotionally, psychologically, when they graduate, that they are indeed employable. These are the challenges that I personally face, because I'm the type of person who would like to make sure that we keep our promise, because our university is a medical university. Parents invest so much money on tuition, and we want to make sure that we actually make good healthcare professionals. And to keep that with their journey with us, minimum 5 to 6 years, in my role, is challenging. And the way I do that is by making sure that we obviously fulfill every promise we made in our best capacity.
Thank you. Yes. During the journey, that's what I was just contemplating, what to speak and what not to speak, in fact. Just to give you a brief about it, I worked in India with a cross-cultural group of students and members, faculty members, and other teams. Then I came to UAE. So here also I had a lot of cultural integration with various groups of people. Then I've been in Nigeria. There also I had a different type of cultural setups. So one of the most important factor where I shifted these roles, what I found is identifying a potential leader material, whether it's in students or among faculty members or among staff, is a challenge, because there need to be certain qualities which they need to demonstrate, maybe like integrity, trust, and that passion. And if any one of these is missing, then they cannot be a leaders in themselves, nor you can groom them, nor they will allow others to take the role of leadership. And second most biggest challenge that I faced, though, when I was in India, I taught students from Africa as well as from all the Arab world, like Iranians, Africans, Egyptians, so on and so forth. But the biggest challenge there, it was the cultural influences which they carry as baggage with them is very difficult to break as a leader, both to identify as well as to create a new leader in them. It's a big challenge because they do have those, what do you call, the baggage, and also the stereotype behavior which they have is very difficult to break. You can mold a person in so many ways, but you cannot take away his cultural influences. And that's the biggest challenge. And the third and the last, which I felt, is having a team of different nationalities or different groups. Managing them is what, whatever theories that we can talk about are set aside. It has to be a human to human. You have to build a trust in it. And that trust is developed only when you can demonstrate with your technical knowledge, with your experience, with your empathizing and in being inclusive with them. Otherwise, being leaders and developing leaders is out of question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Which brings me to a topic that's very close to my heart as a leader, as an educator, as a human: empathy. We talk about empathy a lot. I've worked for almost 8 deans throughout my higher ed career, completely different personalities and leadership. And what I came to a conclusion is that we need to do a psychometric analysis before we give any leadership position to anybody. We look at the CV, great qualifications, great research, H-index, let's get him. No, but how is he as a human being? Again, leading people is different than leading a project or experiments in the lab. He could be running a huge lab at the Cleveland Clinic in the United States. But once you bring a team of human beings under that person, he can't do anything. So I keep saying real psychometric analysis. Put that person in situations where we need him to make a decision on the spot or empathize. So which brings me to Dr. Manish, we're talking about empathy. Can you share how an immersive experience in a community setting enhanced your empathy as a leader?
All right, thank you for this question. As we are talking about leadership, and empathy is obviously a very important ingredient of leadership. And you see, the charity starts from the home, right? So, in order to lead others, you have to lead yourself first. And when you talk about that, you have to, sensitize your team. You have to generate that trust, as rightly said by Sir. Because unless they, start believing in you, and that's where you need to demonstrate. Although there are a lot of theories of leadership, but I truly believe in leading from the front. That's the best way to, exhibit, and that's how they can trust on your abilities. So that's pretty important. So as far as empathy is concerned, I mean, it's all about sensitization part. And the more you are able to spend time with them, you are able to understand what are they actually looking for. That is something very, very important.
Very good. Thank you. Borcho, I'm going to move to you, and I want you to comment on inclusive leadership.
Sure.
How have your community engagement experience, especially working with students, helped you to integrate diverse perspectives into your leadership style?
So I'd like to start with what inclusive leadership is for me. Well, from the word including, obviously, I would like to believe that I have the cultural competence, having worked in 10 different countries, being an international educator, that I acquire those skills. And what I do is with my students, the same thing. Luckily, in my current university, we have 80 plus nationalities, and giving them opportunity where they feel included, respected, and empowered is the way I go around when it comes to inclusiveness. And the way that we engage our students in the community engagement aspect, for example, recently we did a massive event where we were closely with Emirates Red Crescent. Doesn't matter which religion, nationality, background our students come from, we gathered all together and we had one goal. We wanted to raise funds for countries that are facing political difficulties, and under one heart, we raised our fundings for this event. And I think what we try to do is, what I like to do is, when it comes to these inclusiveness and adding different cultural perspectives, we like to not only tolerate differences, but also make sure that we celebrate and cherish all differences under one community. And another event, major event that we do on our campus is Global Day. It's the most anticipated event of the year. Usually, all the nationalities of our university celebrate their cultures, where we, again, just focus on each other's, respect each other's norms and values, and cherish all our differences in this massive event. And these are some of the ways that we engage as a community outside of the campus by working with many charitable communities, and also on campus, again, recognizing that we're all coming from different backgrounds. However, we share the same goal and vision, to be just good humans, really.
Excellent. And that just sets the role model for the students. I'm going to go back to Dr. Krishna. Here's a tough one. I find this very, very tricky. We send people to leadership summits and training and forums, and we pay so much to make them leaders. What methods have you found most effective in translating leadership theory into practice?
See, sending to such places is always a value addition. But technically speaking, you need to be on the ground to exactly execute what you have learned. So that's what, as I told you in the initial stages, we used to engage with the students. And as I told you, we never tell them what is the solution, rather than we work with their solution. There are a couple of solutions went wrong. With the sense, it's more of learning exercise for them. If it's naturally curating them. If you're going to spoil that, saying that, no, I have the experience, you need to listen to me, that's where you tend to deviate from there. So what we try to do is, one is, yes, learning from the different avenues always critical, and you need to encourage that. But at the same time, you don't need to just follow that as it is. You really need to engage yourself in the situation. It's more of case studies, understanding what exactly the situation is all about, and trying to give solution which will quite evidently help them in learning and become a better leaders. I can proudly say that one of my student, who I used to be a mentor for cricket also, and I used to mentor him. Though I am a professional basketball player, I do have a lot of interest in cricket, and I used to train him. The logic is how you can become a leader in the sport. And now I'm so proud to say that he is the fourth best batsman in the world. I'm so blessed to be a mentor
Let's
of
give him a
him.
round of applause.
Thank
It's
you so much.
amazing.
And yeah, likewise, I have so many other students who are excelling in different fields. And one is a cricketer, another one is a motorsport guy, and he was quite engaged in motorsports, and he was a rookie rider of the year, and he was a daredevil kind of a person. And somehow he did not get the element of studies is quite important. So I was emphasizing that you need to finish this, and I was quite evidently against this road racing or something like that, and telling him to push towards his mechanical engineering courses. And he did listen to me, and now he is leading a company which takes care of events. And now also we are in touch, and he's doing so well. He always connects me to that exact episode where I told him, no, race is going, you need to race this also. You need to consider it as exactly like how you are racing in the field. So likewise, I think it's more of engaging your students and yourself. For me also, it's a learning exercise. Now also, I'm quite open in learning from the youngsters, and we have a team which runs the MEN in the university. I learn a lot from that group, and you can see youngsters who are quite different in their leadership, and you need to keep encouraging this. You never know who is what hidden leadership is there unless only you give them the opportunity. And I strongly believe that opportunity is the one which can have the combination of what you learn in the class, what you learn in these kinds of forums, and then how you execute it.
And I think we have to agree that one size doesn't fit all.
No.
We can't use the
No.
same model for
Not at
every
all.
single group.
Yeah.
And I think we need to focus on strengths of people. I'm going to share one quick example from I think he's one of the best leaders I've worked for personally, one of my ex-deans from my last university, Abu Dhabi University. I worked there for 13 years, and I had resigned. He was a brand new dean that came in. We overlapped for a few months. Scheduled half an hour with me only for a handover after 13 years of working in Abu Dhabi University. And I said, is he out of his mind? How am I going to summarize 13 years in half an hour? I thought he'd block a whole day. Guess what he had when I came in the room? He had a sheet, printed every single person's name in the college there, from juniors all the way to the coordinators and program department chairs, including the technicians of the lab, the faculty. We went through every name. He wanted to know the strength of every single person, so he'll place them and make sure supports them. So whoever is a good public speaker, marketing our programs, who is detailed oriented, accreditation, who is a good teacher, first year courses, and that was a sign of an incredible leader. He has to learn. No matter how much I say, he has to find out. But he wanted to know what these people are good at from my 13 years of experience, and he nailed it. The college is running beautifully, even though I left, and I've established a College of Health Sciences. So it's really about knowing the strength. Everybody had a strength, but as you said, give the opportunity and put them in the right place. If there's an incredible person in the wrong place, they will never thrive. They will fail, and you're going to say they're not doing their job. No, you're not supporting them right. Thank you. I'm going to move to Dr. Dina. Community connection as a leadership catalyst. Could you share a story where community engagement directly influenced your approach to leadership?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the question. As you know, right from the start, I was telling that we were basically a community-based organization, which was later developed into an academic institution. So the previous experience before getting into higher education, what we have done is mostly on the social development aspects. And we have been doing a lot of community activities. And what we did is we had gathered the community and we were doing participatory appraisal on for understanding their needs and necessities for the development of that particular area. So that actually helped us to understand and the real needs, and also hand over the responsibility to the community itself on how to bring in changes in their particular area. So that appraisal system actually helped even the community to understand what is lacking there and how we can, or what are the approaches that we need to do to bring in changes. So that is one example which I can quote when we say about the community. But when I got into the higher education sector, and recently the latest experience which I faced was having the student involvement when we went for the accreditation process. So as you know, that process is not so easy. It has a lot of challenges. I mean, it has a lot of documentation, a lot of work to be done. And that is when we actually had a lot of students coming forward, understanding the needs, and they generously helped us to bring in the process more easy. Because they took the responsibility of making all the student support systems workable and easy for us. So we understood that when we were actually sharing the responsibilities or expectations from the students, actually they voluntarily came up. Like what Sir told, if we give them the opportunity and if we give it the right platform, there are possibilities that we can actually find out real talents, real future leaders. So, and I think that was a great experience for me, and I'm really thankful for them, because we were able to went through the accreditation process, and we were also graded A for that.
Great
Yeah.
example. Thank you very much for sharing. My last question is going to be to Professor Kuta. And, again, you've been a mentor, but you've also had probably someone who was a mentor to you. So my question is about the power of mentorship. How has mentorship within community relationships shaped your development as a leader? I want you to tell us about mentorship, whether you were one or you had one. How did that influence you as a leader?
That's, I think, a tough question
It is a tough question. That's why I kept it till the end.
to answer. That's good. In fact, let me just put across the significant part of when I started my journey. I would begin from there. I had my professor. I passed out my MPhil, Masters of Philosophy, and then I was offered a job as a lecturer. I was not sure whether I would be able to do it or not. So I went and asked my professor. He told me only one thing: you can do it. I said, are you confident? He said, yes. Okay. Then he advised me one thing. The first 5 years, whatever tasks they assign you, be it teaching, administrative, whatever it be, related to the academics or the institution, don't say no. Just do it. I did that 5 years without saying no to anything. I don't know whether what has helped me, but one thing I can surely tell you is, in my journey, that has taught me the hard labor that I can put in without backing out, whatever be the challenges. And it's 42 years that I am into this job. Even today, if time comes, I can sit for 12 to 14 hours and complete the assignment and then only get up. So that's the biggest lesson. The second lesson is the first college when I joined. In India, there's a system where the question papers are prepared by the professors. It has to be given to the university. There's a confidential department, and they declare the question papers to all the university students at one time. So that professor, the principal he gave me that confidential paper on the very third day of my joining the institution. And he said, go and give it to the university. And he said, you know what it is? He said, the question paper. I said, does he trust me so much? And that's a lesson which I learned. And even today, if I want anybody to be a part of me, to trust me, I should learn to trust them. And that trust factor which has developed, as my mentee has done to me, and I do the same to my students. In fact, whenever I take my examinations in the classroom, the very first word that I tell my students is this: on a prima facie, I trust you all. Okay? So do your work well, but if I find you or you breach my trust, then there's no remorse. That's the end. So that's why I started with saying that trust is a very, very important element to be leading the team, or to develop a good team members, or to be inclusive. Because in inclusiveness, the most important thing is fairness and a freedom of, judgment offered to them. That's only inclusiveness comes. Just because you give them a task is not inclusiveness. Give them a freedom of decision making is a inclusiveness component, and the fairness in judgments that you make. So these are some of the lessons which I learned from my mentors, and then I started mentoring down to my this thing. And as I said, in the inclusiveness, one of the things which I learned is when I was in Nigeria, I was a vice chancellor there. The lift man used to, take us up and down. So I used to shake hand with him. So everybody used to look at me and say, "You shaking a hand with this lift man?" I said, "It doesn't matter to me. He's a human being. And I can include such kind of people or any person into my orientation and my journey with them." Thank you.
Thank you for this wisdom. I think we have a lot to learn from you, Professor. I promised my wrap-up question. I know we're behind, but I really want to hear this in 30 seconds. And I'm going to start with Dr. Krishna. What is your take-home message for young future leaders?
Don't stop learning, and always be prepared for any sort of challenges. If you stop learning, or if you are quite afraid of what's going to happen without even facing the challenge, then you are not going to go anywhere. So don't stop yourself, and keep learning, and I think you need to have, as you rightly pointed out, inclusivity starts from the home and everywhere. That's the key of success.
Thank you, Dr. Dina. 30 seconds.
Well, as Dr. Krishna has told rightly, we have to be prepared to face any challenges, and we should not be slow. We should not slow down at any point of time, and we should be very aggressive to take up the challenges. And I'm sure that if we have the right attitude, we'll be able to overcome all those and be successful.
Thank you, Dr. Manish.
The message I usually give to my students in the class: just follow your passion.
Yes.
And rather, I would say, do small things with great passion. For one of the brand, I would like to quote, although it is in Hindi, the line says, "ये एक दिन में नहीं होगा, but एक दिन जरूर होगा." It may not happen today, but someday it will definitely happen.
Absolutely.
So that is the message I wanted to give. Thank you.
Porcho.
My fellow panelists kind of mentioned what I wanted to mention. Definitely continuous learning. I was going to also say, have a global perspective and stay connected to the ever-changing, rapidly world. But also, most importantly, I think humility. Stay humble and be open to feedbacks and learn from your mistakes, and just receive that feedback. And again, use it as a good opportunity. I think that's what we're lacking. A lot of people are after names, designations, but it's very important that we stay humble in what we do, especially young learners, leaders.
Thank you. Prof.
Only one word I would say: integrity, integrity, integrity. Minus integrity, whatever you may have, it's useless.
Amazing.
So just maintain your integrity, do justice to you, yourself, your team members, your institution. Success will be yours.
Thank you very much for this amazing panel. Big round of applause, please. Thank you. Appreciate your time.